Welcome, everyone. I'm Rebecca Saltman, and I am here with Jade Rader, and this is the EMPATH Insights Summit. We noticed some time ago that there was a gap when it came to learning about being a sensitive and empathic person in this world. So we decided to do something about that. So we started talking with other amazing empathic people and learned so much that we felt we needed to share it with the world. We love what we do, and we get to talk to the most amazing people in the process. And we learn just an enormous amount every time. And so today, Tiffany Espinosa is one of our delightful co-authors in our EMPATH EU anthology, launching on April 28th, 2022. And Tiffany shared a really great story in our book, and we might even talk about it a little bit today. So we are thrilled about the opportunity to talk to Tiffany. And let me share a little brief introduction about our fantastic author here. Dr. Tiffany Espinosa is a social entrepreneur who helps individuals and organizations level up. Since 2017, she's been the executive director of professional and graduate education for Mount Holyoke College. She's an executive business coach for the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program and leads Teal Executives, a business strategy and executive coaching firm. She serves as a board member for Girls Inc. of the Valley and volunteers with E for All Holyoke. She leads an initiative of East Hampton Chamber of Commerce, and she believes the power of empowered, inspired, and people and collaboration. Welcome, Tiffany.
Hi, Rebecca. Thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to talking with you.
Of course. So Jade, will you get us started?
Absolutely. Aloha, Tiffany. You talk about curiosity as your superpower and how it helps you attune to the world. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah, so, I am a curious person, probably in multiple dimensions, but I find that leaning into curiosity actually gives me the space to learn a lot of things, explore, try new things. When you're curious and you're willing to lean in, it gives you permission to be a beginner. You don't have to worry about always being the expert. And I found on this particular journey with my intuition, with being an empath, it actually allows me to be open in my mind and my heart in ways that I think if I wasn't as curious and open, would not have happened for me.
That is amazing. So what do you do to nurture your curiosity?
I do read a lot, and fiction, nonfiction, magazines, things that I agree with, things I don't agree with. I say yes a lot. So my friends and colleagues know that if they need a companion to go on some kind of an adventure, ask me. And I've gone to all kinds of things that I never would have imagined, cultural events, art, sports, book clubs, all kinds of things. And I find by saying yes, it allows you to inhabit different spaces and see what the world looks like from other perspectives. And so I found that that is a really helpful tool for me in nurturing my curiosity. And it's fun to do it in a social way.
Very cool, Tiffany. In a conversation before, you mentioned that you don't have a framework for your intuitive gifts. Can you tell us really what you mean by that?
Yeah. So, growing up, and certainly, so I work in the business world mostly, and we're prized there for thinking logically and our command of language and the cognition that helps us really move forward is something that should be traceable, has evidence, is clear. And so I'm good at that, right? Like I'm very good at that particular game. But with what I find with my intuitive gifts or my empathic gifts are that it is my feelings, it is absolutely nonverbal, it's a completely different language. And so, I think I've always tapped into, and I tend to refer to it as my intuition. I tend to tap into it pretty easily, but for a long time I didn't know how to really listen or harness it because it fell outside of what I was taught, right, in school and what I was rewarded for as a professional.
So that's super amazing to understand it from that frame. So then how did you learn to trust your intuition? And like, what happens when you do that?
Yeah, well, I think I intentionally and thoughtfully started trusting it and using it and figuring out how to use it in the last decade or so. I was well into my professional life, but I like to write, and I started really just noting and reflecting on the feelings and thoughts and sort of trying to describe the nonverbal things that were happening. And I saw patterns, and so that was part of it, right? So that's how my logical mind started to connect with the stuff that I didn't really have language for. And I also found when I kind of played with it, right, when I intentionally leaned in, when even though it was uncomfortable, I listened and tried to discern what it was I was supposed to do. It worked. It worked repeatedly. It worked really well. And so, a lot of, I would say, the last decade for me has been figuring out what is that language and how does it operate in me and through me, because it isn't, it's not like having a road signal. You have to start interpreting the information, and oftentimes it's very subtle information. And I also believe that it is probably highly personal. So it's not like you can just, pull something off the shelf and say, oh, whenever I feel this in my stomach, I know what it means, because it really is our own individual relationship to the world, and our own ways of having feelers out there, I guess, right? And how that occurs for each of us. So it's been interesting. I think it has been a challenge because there's not a lot of community out there. There's not a lot of resources, and so trying to go it alone has been challenging, which is part of why I'm a part of this book and this collaborative of amazing writers and thinkers.
That's fabulous, Tiffany. What is presencing? It's something that I know you're a rock star at. And how does it relate to what you just shared with us?
Yeah, so I actually found that when I literally stumbled across the idea of presencing, it was one of those moments of sort of coming home for me, because it was a way of integrating what I did in my professional life and then sort of my other ways of knowing. And so broadly, presencing is a collaborative and creative process, and it really focuses on exploration and inspiration that allows you to unleash the power of a team of people, a group of people. It's a lot about discovery and co-creating a better future. It can actually be applied in lots of different contexts. So, it could be about designing a product or service. It could be about thinking about your process, an organization, or even a community. So it operates, fundamentally at a number of different levels. Any kind of challenge or opportunity you might want to explore. And for me, it's a way of creating the space and context for people to lean in. And it definitely takes curiosity and a willingness for everybody to open themselves and engage fully and authentically. The process of it is actually fairly simple. It starts off with, you've got to suspend all of your assumptions. You want to really open your mind and your heart, and be in dialogue with people, identify common purpose, really explore and listen to a range of ideas or solutions. Part of that process is also about opening up your will. I find in my work with a lot of folks, curiosity is the opposite of certainty. And again, so many spaces in our lives we're asked to be certain, right? If you're a leader, you are supposed to know with absolute certainty what's going to happen. As a parent, as a friend, a lot of times what we're rewarded for is our certainty. And actually, it's the curiosity that allows you to open up and to engage, I think, more fully with folks. I find, and sometimes I have a strong personal reaction to something, but that's exactly the moment that I lean into my curiosity and go, why am I having that reaction? And as you start to truly listen and be open, it does open up your will. You're not as wedded to a single endpoint solution. You're not as wedded to your idea. I think that the way that opening up your mind and heart can open up your will is actually a really powerful triad. And sometimes that takes, I think, and I find this in my consulting work, it takes some sensitivity and nuance, right? There's good reasons that we think what we do, and that we can cling to the ideas that we have. But presencing is a process done in some kind of a group to really try to think more broadly and widely about what is our vision, how do we create that, and it really reflects, I think, the what is the best about the insights and the synergies of the group. And so oftentimes the end result is not something anyone could have predicted at the beginning, but it's often the culmination of so many good new insights that it's a better solution, or a better idea, or what have you. So it's a process that I love, because it sort of draws it all together for me.
As you talk about curiosity and also certainty, I'm curious, how has your curiosity and intuition helped you find your calling?
Yeah, well, like I said before, curiosity sort of allows me to explore the world, allows me to, be good at some things, not good at other things, not care, right? I'm just curious, I'm trying. And I think what curiosity allowed me to do was try a range of things to figure out what I was really, really good at. And it also gave me some of the feedback loops that have helped me get better, right? When you're curious, it's okay if you're not as good. You want to know how it could be better. You want to understand why something worked, right? It's sort of the proverbial version of taking apart the toaster to figure out like what's going on here. And so I think it allowed me to play across multiple fields, figure out what my strengths were, and then not be afraid to continue to lean in and learn more and explore more, and let that really capture my sense of wonder and inspiration, which then just feeds back into getting better. With listening to my intuition, it's funny because I find it works in two different ways often for me. One, it often helps me when I'm facing important decisions or a branched path. One of I learned this a long time ago, and it's actually kind of a funny way to do things. When you face one thing you can do when you face a big decision is flip a coin. And regardless of whether or not you like the answer that you get, right? So path A or path B, flip the coin, it says path B. I don't have to do path B, but what that does is give me really clear feedback about what my reaction to whatever option the universe has chosen with the flip of a coin. And so, it helps guide me in making better decisions. And part of that, I think, is tied to emotional intelligence, right? It's tied to me really understanding myself, and it's tied to me being connected to the people that I'm working with. That's one of the things I love about intuition, is that it can be something that helps guide you in your interactions with folks. And I've heard that there are these things called mirror neurons in people's brains, right, where we can actually feel and experience things when we're in some amount of community with folks. I don't know how that works. I'm not that kind of a scientist, but it's one of those places where I think sometimes our intuition can be feeding from different sources, not just my own internal well, but maybe the people that I'm around. And so it helps me when I'm faced with these important decisions to figure out what I think the right way is. For me, if it's only about me, but for my team, if it's about, a group of us, right? Whether it's at work or at home or, with friends. And, sometimes you make bad decisions, but even that helps you, it helps me figure out what the right way forward is, even if there's been a stumble. The other place I think it helps me is that it nudges me when I do need to make a decision. So, sometimes we can have that resistance to being declarative, putting something out there, trying. And so my intuition is also the little tug at me that says, no, you gotta put it out there, right? You gotta try, you gotta make the decision. So, it's interesting to me the way that the curiosity that I have and the intuition really do work together. The curiosity allows me to get the feedback, to explore what it means. The intuition is the feedback. So that's how it has helped me, find my path and walk it fairly boldly, and really enjoy it and get better at it, right? So.
Excellent, Tiffany. Someone's in a place like you've been in where they're in that movement. How do you guide them?
So first of all, I listen to them. I ask people to tell me their story. How did we get here? Who are you? And I find that actually it's really fascinating when you can just open up the space for someone to help you understand what the world looks like from their seat, right? From their walkway. Because it often gives me some really important clues around what is important to them, what do they value, where are the points of tension. I think listening for those different aspects helps me then bring them up in a fairly overt way or reflect them back to folks in ways that allows them to sometimes see it in a different light or to wrestle with something that was just underneath the surface for them, right? They couldn't see the pattern because they were too close to it. So
Excellent. So Tiffany, what is there any last thoughts or insight that you'd like to leave the listeners with?
well, I think life is a complicated thing. Relationships, leading people, making decisions, right? Modern life is a very complicated thing. And I think one thing I would say beyond what I've said here is I think finding kindred spirits is critical, right? Finding a group of people who you can be authentic with, who you can be not always at your best, where they can cheer you on and know you, I think is important. And I think, especially when we're talking about the world of leadership, which is a lot of where I live, and being an empath, being intuitive, being spiritual, right? Whatever the language or framework is that someone might have around that. And I've seen a lot of different frameworks. But I think it's important to be around people that can help you figure out yourself, talk about it, celebrate. Because it can be an awfully lonely world out there for 100 reasons. And being an adult is not easy. Making friends as an adult is not easy. Um, but I think finding your group can really help. And so, again, that's where be curious, right? Reach out, try things, explore new things. Use your intuition. I am the kind of an adult who will say to other people, "Hey, you're pretty cool. You want to be my friend?" And I often find people like, wait, people don't say that. But that's partially also trying to use your awareness of, there is a synergy here and I'm going to name it and I'm going to invite someone in to play. Because a lot of complicated things in life, but it can also be pretty amazing, and full of wonder and full of inspiration, and people along the path. So
That's amazing. Tiffany, we heard you have something to share with our audience. Can you tell us what it is? And oh yeah, by the way, will you tell our listeners where they can learn more about you, connect with you, get your goodies, all the things?
absolutely. So I do have a couple of things. One is a guide on how to stay curious, to help you really cultivate curiosity and use it to support your personal and professional growth, right? I think that both are important, and they fill different wells for us. And then the other is that I'm happy to meet with a group, your team, for 30 minutes and talk about these ideas and how you can use them to help promote a more integrated and authentic experience. So, whether it's a work group or a book group, I'm happy to come and chat with you guys. The best way to get a hold of me is actually through tealexecutives.com. I'm the founder and principal of that, and that's where I do a lot of the individual work and group work. As Rebecca said, I also do a lot of other things. I'm a curious person. I need to be stimulated, but I'd invite you to tealexecutives.com. And in
Could you
the
spell that for us?
yes, TEALEXECUTIVES.com. And hopefully we'll put it also in the links here for you. So yeah, come on over. There's a link on there if you want to set up a meeting with me. Just tell me that you heard about it through this interview or through the book. Love to chat with you.
Tiffany, what you're up to in the world is decadent, and helping people know who they are so that they can literally walk into their own leadership role, no matter what that looks like for them. I want to really thank you for sharing your insights today and telling your story in the You Empath You book.
Thank you. It's a joy to be here with you. It's a joy to explore this and really try to surface what may not be visible to everybody.
Fabulous. Listeners, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this summit today. Keep listening. We've got tons of wonderful speakers to share with you. And you know what? There are dozens of bonuses from our partners. Go to the website, youempathyoubook.com. And on April 28th, this is when we launch the book, and the Kindle is 99 cents. You can buy the Kindle version or you can order your paperback version. And when the You Empath You book, when that day comes where we're launching this, I have a tip. Actually put an appointment in your calendar and set a couple alarms in case you're busy, and have them ding you and let you know that you can get this great deal in the book, and you can help this word share out into the world the insights of other empaths helping each other on their own journey. Now, after you've gotten your book, you're going to take that receipt number and go to our website, youempathyoubook.com, and you're going to enter it to get the dozens of bonuses from our authors and our partners. These are beautiful gifts to support you on your own personal journey, professionally and personally. And continue to listen to the summit and gain the insights. And we're so excited that you're here on this journey with us. Remember, April 28th, 2022. And thank you so much, and so much aloha.